He has worked to source and does his, we teach him to work to source.
What does that mean?
If I may,
You may.
if my water bottle is the source of the odor and it's coming out and funneling down, if the dog is working from this side of the monitor, you would see his body behavioral change when he works in, whether it's his breathing pattern or his walking or his lifting his nose, he's working into odor. The wind's coming from this direction. You would see him start to bracket. He would work the odor back and forth and work it to source. This constant time here, by training him and working so many odors with him, you would know that he's in odor and he's alerting to the odor, but he hasn't gotten to the source yet. So he would work to source, get to here, and then give me my final trained alert. If it was a sit, he would go to a sit. That's the best way I could explain.
So let me see if I understand. Once the dog detects the odor, as the handler who has trained with the dog, you can see that there's a behavioral change.
Absolutely.
Then when the dog works to the source or as close as possible to the source, it's your expectation that the dog will then give a final trained alert.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you train Bones to proceed in this fashion?
Yes.
What was Bones' final trained alert?
His final trained alert was a sit.
Sit.
Yes, ma'am.
What sort of, I know you used water as a demonstrative aid, but what sort of aids were used to imprint Bones before he was actually used in casework?
In the imprinting stage or the whole training stage?
We can start with imprinting and then move through training.
In the imprinting stage, we used mostly the rags with decomp, human decomp, rags that had been soaked up with the chest cavities, in the chest cavity of a cadaver. A deceased person already would take rags and stuck it in the chest cavity where there's a lot of bodily fluids that's decomping, and we would use that primarily.
All right, so that's the imprinting stage. Do you then move to different training aids once the dog is imprinted on that scent?
Yes.
Specifically as it relates to Bones, what sort of training aids did you utilize?
We used bones, not just his name, but actual human bones, placentas, the chest cavity rags. The pseudoscent that we did use, it was drowned victim only.
What is that? Pseudoscent.
Pseudoscent is a man-made odor, a tablet. I actually brought some with me.
Okay. Is it something, you said it was drowning victim only, so do you put that into water and see then if the dog can be trained to detect that?
Correct. You would put the tablet in odor or into the water, the pond, the retention pond, the lake, and the tablet puts out the odor of drowned victim. I like to use that way I wasn't creating any kind of biohazard. If it was in a retention pond, I really wouldn't worry about it, but it's easier to do. You drop your tablets in the water, you let it sit for a little bit, and you run your dog on it.
Right. Other than that, do you recall any of the training aids used with Bones?
Why I had them, I believe that we used blood also. Bone, blood, pseudo, tissue, the decomp on the rags, placenta, grave dirt, dirt from where a cadaver had actually been recovered from, the fluids that suck up in the soil there, we use that also. And I believe that's going to be all that I used with him at that time.
Now, you made some reference to the fact that you don't have Bones
Correct.
anymore. At some point, was there a decision made by the Orange County Sheriff that, that a full-service dog, not a single-purpose dog, would be needed for the agency?
Yes. I'm sorry.
Once that decision was made, what happened to Bones?
Once that decision was made with Bones, we went and trained and tried to make him a full-service dog, an apprehension dog, commonly referred to as a white dog, and he didn't make it. The agency then made the decision because they had previously made the decision that they would like me to work a full-service dog. They went ahead and retired him, and he ended up going to a captain. I believe he was a captain at our agency at the time, and that's when Osceola was looking. Sergeant Brewer got him from the captain.
So, if I'm understanding you correctly, the Osceola County Sheriff's Office decided they could use a single-purpose dog
Correct.
for human remains detection work.
Correct. Because at the time, locally sworn law enforcement personnel, cadaver dog wise, I covered multiple counties. I was it
For how long?
for a while.
So you're talking about going to Brevard County or Seminole County, Lake County, because Bones
Correct.
was the only cadaver dog in the area for a period of time?
Correct. Sworn wise, there were still some search and rescue groups out there, but law enforcement wise, I was it.
So once that decision was made to have a full-service dog assigned to you, do you get another
Yes,
canine?
ma'am. Yes. I was still working the Bloodhound as well, and then we purchased Garrus.
And what type of a dog is Garrus?
Garrus is a German Shepherd.
Did Garrus come from the same breeding program that you mentioned as it relates to Bones?
No, they had stopped the breeding program at that point, and we bought Garrus from one of our vendors that we use to purchase our dogs from.
Did Garrus come from Germany?
Yes, he did. He was imported. I believe he'd been here roughly 4 or 5 days when I got him.
Was he a puppy?
No,
How old was he?
he was, I believe he was 20 months, 21 months, something like that. I know his birthday was October 20th. And he will be 9 this October.
So what happened once you received Garrus? Is he then sent through a program for the full-service dog?
Yes, we then start, I believe it was August 6th of 2004. We started a 400-hour school for our base. It's called Basic Patrol Canine Work. You go in there, you teach your obedience, your building searches, area searches, your criminal apprehension, your scent discrimination, man tracking, and that's it. That's your 400-hour school.
So once that 400-hour school is completed, is Garrus certified to actually do casework?
In police work, yes, ma'am. He's then FDLE certified. We go out and he's evaluated by 2 outside evaluators, and they evaluate him in his obedience, and everything at our evaluation stage is awfully. He does his obedience, routines, handed voice, criminal apprehension, the control work, the buildings, and the areas. He's evaluated and then certified through the state of Florida, FDLE-wise.
Now, you work with him during this evaluation process, correct? He doesn't get tested by some other handler. That's a team concept.
Correct. You are the only person that works with your dog.